main things that we're going to go over today is finding a coach's directory on their website. And then we're going to go over how to optimize your open rate for when contacting a coach via Instagram, Twitter, and DMing them online. And if you haven't done so already, go check out university.thebaseballplayground.com for all these free resources, and everything that we are going to be covering today will be on there as well. So the first thing we're going to cover is the online sources of contact that you can actually go and find coaches' information on. This is going to be specifically for their website. So we're going to cover everything from top to bottom of how you can find a website, how you can find the coach's information, all the way down to the athletic trainer's information. Now for this example, we're going to use USC just because they're D1, and I know a lot of you guys want to go play D1. We'll use USC. So to start us off, we're going to go to USC's website. Simple as that. Or what you can do to kind of speed up the process is go type in USC Baseball Coaches Directory. That will actually bring you directly to the coaches directory instead of having to scrub their website for it. However, if you are going to go the route of scrubbing the website, all you need to go to is the athletic department or the hamburger menu that they have under the athletics. Find baseball, click into baseball. Once you find that, then you're going to go into either roster to find out, other players, or there might be a tab that says coaches directory. If there isn't a tab that says coaches directory, then it will just simply be inside of the roster section, probably all the way at the bottom, where that'll be the coaches directory. You're going to find the head coach's information, all of the assistant coach's information. Usually there's about 3 of them. Then you can also find the trainer's information, and there might also be like an intern that's listed. Depends on the program that you're looking at. Typically, they will have their email there. Some programs do not have their phone number. I believe that USC does have the phone number listed as well. That might just be a phone number that it's not going to be directly to the coach, I promise you that, but it might be their work phone or the office of the baseball program that you can actually reach out to and call. I wouldn't text that number because it probably won't go through, but you can definitely call them and ask them for information about camp showcases and anything else in the future. Now, as you are searching for these coaches' contact information, you should be creating a database of the coaches' information. So whether you put an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheets together, have the first name, last name, coach's email, the phone number that's associated with it, and the school's program so that you don't get anything mixed up. Once you do that, you want to send all the coaches an email introducing yourself. Now, to send out an email, you can check out our free templates in the link in the description and go from there. 100% free. Go check them out. They're awesome. Got great reviews. Once you have these coaches interested in you, that's where the real fun begins to happen. But don't forget that there are assistant coaches. If you do not hear back from a head coach, you need to reach out to the assistants. The assistants will actually tell a coach, hey, this guy reached out to me. He seems like a really good prospect. Here's his highlight video. And then you start working your way up the chain. Once you begin working your way up the chain, then you get to the head coach, who's ultimately the decision maker, and you go from there. As for the next avenue of reaching out to coaches and finding out their information is through recruiting services. However, recruiting services are going to be paid for. So you have NCSA, you have Perfect Game, you have recruiting platforms that are just literally everywhere. Be Recruited, Sports Recruits, True Recruit, all these different platforms do the exact same thing. They are just having you pay for all of the email lists and an avenue to connect with. We don't recommend using these platforms because you can do all of this yourself. That's one thing that we preach a lot is you don't need these services to reach out to coaches. It's all done for you. You're essentially paying for an email address because that's like an NCSA recruiting email address that is sent out to the coaches, so it's more reliable and you don't have to worry about spam filters. But however, you can do all this on your own. You don't need these paid resources, but they are a great avenue for also helping you choose the school to go to. Now, I just want to throw a little caveat in here before we move to the social media aspect. But when you go to camps and showcases, you want to introduce yourself to as many coaches as possible. Shake as many coaches' hands. Of course, be aware of the recruiting guidelines. Some coaches might not be able to talk to you depending on the age range that you're in. But you can also just simply start networking with these coaches. There's an economy that comes with these coaches in the sense of if you introduce yourself to a coach as a freshman And then by the time you are a junior, that coach might not be at that same school and is now looking for a new player at a new program that he's at. Therefore, that connection is actually full circle on you. So you can actually start building that and building it over time, and it's going to take time. You're not going to get verbally committed as a freshman anymore. There's a whole bunch of different rules and regulations that the NCAA is implementing this year. So just be aware of things like that. Now let's talk social media and how you can utilize it to your advantage when reaching out to coaches. The first one is Twitter. It's your baseball business card. That's literally what Twitter is for athletes. Make sure your Twitter is optimized before you start reaching out to coaches. Now, when I say optimized, you need the player profile pic, your bio with all the information you want, and have some posts of highlight footage or clips of you and your teammates on there, just so coaches can understand when you do reach out to them who you are as a player. Now, to find a coach on Twitter, all you have to do is go to the Explore page or type in the coach's name or the program's name. Typically, either of those is going to work once you find the coach or the head coach, whether they're tagged in the post or they have a link to the directory, and then you go through that process again. As for when you reach out to a coach, make sure it's personalized in the way that you are saying, "Hey coach, blank," with their name. "I'm interested in your school, blank." And you continue down that path to personalize it and make sure it's you that's talking, not your parents. If your mom or dad is DMing coaches for you, I got to tell you one thing, buddy, you got to grow up. You got to start doing things on your own, and you have to start networking with coaches on your own, because that's the only way you're going to grow as a man. Now, secondly, using Instagram. Instagram is a great tool for reaching out to coaches simply for the fact of the DM. You can get into a coach's DM automatically, just like that, whether it's through a request or spam filter, doesn't matter. You will get into a coach's DM simply by sending them a DM. But the first thing you want to do is follow them, start liking some of the pictures, and then DM them. Again, this has to be personalized to the coach. Don't just copy and paste a template and run with it from there. And a pro tip for searching up coaches on Instagram is to utilize hashtags and the @ symbol. So when you go to a program's page, so say in this case USC, and we go to USC Trojan Baseball's Instagram page, look for the players and the coaches that are tagged in the images. Typically, you can just start networking with coaches through that avenue. Or you start tagging them in the comment section below, and you're like, "Hey, love to go to your school, shoot me a DM or check your DM." You almost want to do this as a business where you're outreaching to coaches in certain ways. There's different avenues of outreach, but this is the most simple and easiest for you to start doing today. And on that note, here are the action steps for this video. The first action step is put a list of 10 schools together that you really want to go to. Now, be realistic with these schools. Don't just put the top 10 schools that you think you can get into just simply because they're Vanderbilt, USC, the top D1 schools in the country. Make sure you're realistic when forming these schools list. Secondly, go to their directory and put together a database of all of the coaches that are listed on the directory. Once you do this, move on to step 3, which is start writing the emails and sending out the emails. However, make sure that it's not an email blast where you BCC the coaches on the email. Instead, make sure you're sending each email individually so that the coaches aren't being spammed with random emails from you. And lastly, wait a week before you send another email to the coach. It's gonna take time for them to respond, and also remember they might not be able to respond if you aren't a sophomore or junior yet, depending on where you're at and which division you're reaching out to. And we have a whole bunch more resources on our website, university.thebaseballplayground.com. So go check it out, link in the description. And we're all about trying to help you get recruited, develop, and just have a better mindset. So feel free to leave a comment below on the top school that you want to get recruited to, and we will reach out to you personally to try and help you get there. We'll see you on the next episode, guys.